All right, the temperature's climbing and projects are piling up and I'm not getting anything done, it feels like. But I'm hoping to get back to this project and I'll show you what we're up to right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Rusty Oliver Man, and the little 1250 here. This is arguably, I would say, the better of the two grills that I have. The other one, I don't know, it might be a little bit better, but not really. It's bad in different ways. This one is going to need some reinforcement behind. I believe this to be fiberglass. So I don't know if I'm going to try to do fiberglass repair kit or if I'm going to just try to JB weld the crap out of the back of it, maybe, where you can't see, and see if that will help bind it together, just to help keep it nice. But the biggest gaping problem is missing the top insert, which is about as rare as hen's teeth to find. So what to do? Well, luckily my neighbor actually has one of these tractors that he bought. He's got a tractor collection. His does not run. I think it's actually stuck. I'm not sure if they ever got it freed up or not, but his has a perfect grill, or as perfect as you would find. It's more sun discolored than this one, but he has both inserts. So I asked, would it be possible for me to come over and take that top one out and then see if I could copy it in some way? And he said, I guess, as long as you don't destroy it. And I did not destroy it. It was very easy to get out. Matter of fact, his wasn't even in there all the way. The fasteners that it had was like a screw, but the back had a roll pin in it. And this one, I was able to, like, the roll pin was floating, and you could like push in half and then get it in there and whatever. The other one, the roll pin is froze up in it, so when I took it off, it wasn't even hooked in there all the way. It was like half the roll pin was hanging in or whatever, but it was fine. I was able to get it off and on. And what I did was I traced it, see? And then I just spent half an hour cutting out my tracing, and we're gonna see how good a job I did. Now see, the original, oh, this is going to be a trick to do with the original. I noticed right away I'm not going to have like the original because it's actually tapered. I don't know how to make that like V'd out here a little bit, and mine is obviously going to just be flat when I'm done. But I believe that size, well, I need to make it a little bit, probably bigger than that size to hit both corners. And I was wondering about that. But anyway, my plan is, I got this 1/2 inch thick plastic sheet, and I'm gonna try to cut it out of that. I've never worked with that before. I'm going to treat it as wood and work it that way and see what happens. I did make another cutting of it, flipping it upside down, and that's what I need to do. I need to make the outside size the size of this, because that goes fully to the edges. What I did was rock it, you know, back and forth. So I kind of foresaw that this problem would exist, because I'm trying to do something that's, you know what I'm saying. So I'll cut the basic shape with that, then I'll lay this over it to cut my holes as best I can. See, that one is just a little bit, ever so slightly wider, and that's what it takes. And that's what we need to do. So We're going to do that, of course, though, over in front of the fan instead of out here in the sweat box. And then we'll, you know, compare and see what we got. But I'll use this one to cut the outline. Then we will hold it in here and make sure that it's the shape we want. Then we will attempt to cut all of the holes. And I guess what I'll do is trace them and then probably drill 4 holes, like one in each corner of each thing. And then I've got a jigsaw. We're going to try to cut the pattern. So we'll see how that plan works out. I don't know, but and then for the bottom, what these little tabs are, they're actually, we'll have to make little 90-degree braces. They're 90-degree tin pieces that are screwed up through the bottom of the grill. Believe it or not, you could see the screw heads on the top part. So I don't know. I think this is thick enough material that we can get like a 1024 screw or something and do that. So let's see what happens. This will be a good little project to tide us over while I'm waiting on the nuts for the rods to come. They should be here today. I was impressed that less than 24 hours they're supposed to be here. So we will put this back together when they get here. See how long we can survive without the fan running. There is kind of a breeze right now, so that's handy. I don't know how this is going to go. Like I said, I've never necessarily worked with this, and there's not enough to get to, so we got to do it. We got to do it right. I don't know if this is. In theory, when we cut this, the way I'm doing it, the actual piece will be a little bit bigger than it needs to be, and we can always maybe file down whatever we have to do. Let's see if that made a, all right. That made an outline. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing, so we're going to try out this new toy that I bought. I've always wanted one, but never really had a reason to buy one. And I thought, hey, today's the day. Should I read the instructions? Or should I just go for it? Basic, clean wood. I'm thinking clean wood is what we want. Or do I want basic for metal? Let's start with clean wood, and if that looks like it's gonna be too aggressive, we will switch to something else. Let's start up here. Oh, that'll work good. Get rid of that chunk. That stuff cuts very easy. I'm very impressed. I don't know if I'm impressed with my ability to follow a line that I traced, but we're going to go with it. Alright, now that I look like White Trash Santa, I have my rough shape. I should probably, well, right now the plastic's on there, so I'd know, but I want to make sure that I always keep this as the face, because that's the way that I cut it. So let's go fit this in and see how it looks. Buddy the dog, what are you doing? Relaxing in the shade? Sure. Ooh. Well, we've potentially hit our first snafu. It is because of the angle enough. Boy, I wish I knew more about this material. I wonder if a guy could heat it and bend it, like right in the center. I don't like the rocking effect. Perhaps I should have went with the smaller material, or the smaller gauge material. Okay, I think maybe experimentation is in order with some of the scrap pieces. I don't know. I don't know if I could. I hate to get this all done and then experiment on it and end up destroying it. But I just wonder if a guy would apply a little bit of heat to it, if he could in fact get it to bend a little in the middle. So the question is going to be, if a guy heated this, he would have to have it clamped across its entirety, probably, to get it to do what he wanted. But could he fold it essentially in half without much discoloration by simply heating it up? What I'm afraid is going to happen is, I'm afraid it's just going to instantly melt. And if I tried to put a piece of rod on or something and put it under tension and heat it, I'm afraid what's going to happen is the rod is just going to melt into the plastic. So typical, foiled again, you know. What do I want to do? I wish I knew. I'm sure there's a way to do what I want to do, but I don't know. I wonder how strong it is before it breaks. Let's find something and see if we can bend this. Ooh, okay. All right, I did not apply much pressure, and I was able to get that to flex into a curved shape, and that really is all I would need to be able to do it. Because I'm not using anything but this barrel to make it do that. All right, so using what I've learned there, I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and make this to its final thing, which will be full of holes. And the reason that I'm thinking that that's gonna go, when I cut these holes in there, it's going to weaken this, and it will make it easier to bend. It didn't appear that that stuff would snap right away. So I think if I were to make the holes and then put it in something and try to bend it, I think I could get it to do what I want. So that's where I'm at. I guess my next adventure is tracing on here and then drilling a bunch of holes and then jigsawing out all of these things. So that's where we'll go. That's too boring. I'm not gonna make you watch that. I'll figure that out. You probably can't hear me anyway with the wind blowing across me, but that's the way it is. All right, here's our test so far. My procedure is going to be drilling holes in the corners and then jigsawing out the pieces. And then I think I'll take a burr bit and smooth it for the final, you know, to make the shape perfect, because I got a little bit squirrely, but I think I can square it up and make it something. And then when we're all done, we're gonna break it in half, because I'm gonna try to bend it after I get it all opened up. I think I can do it just enough to make her go, so we'll see what happens. All right, let's try this. I'm actually impressed with how good this turned out so far. And I managed to get it bent just enough where it fits in there. I found a place on my trailer where I could wedge it in there and it would be the whole length, and then I just pulled down on it till it fits right in there, and it looks pretty good. It's not perfect. It needs a little refinement, a little grinding, like I said, maybe with the die grinder and a burr bit. But boys, 99% of the people aren't gonna know that that's not supposed to be there. I mean, that's pretty sweet, really. So do some refining, and then probably have to take that grill off again and then drill the holes in the corner so we can figure out how to fasten it on. We got to make little brackets for the bottom, and then we'll have us a grill, I think. All right, friends, back over here for a test fit. Look at this. I couldn't wait. I had to put the stickers on part way anyway, just to see how that would be. What a snazzy little gal this is. But at any rate, I think I got my grill figured out. But that's what I was afraid of there. I was afraid that maybe the top... Okay. So I got to decide what I want to do. I actually like how that fits in there. I just feel like it should go down a little bit. Boy, I would hate to cut into original material. That's one thing that I just don't know if that's... I don't know that I'm on board with that. But it's got to go in there better than this. What happened is, when I made my little brackets, that's raised it up just enough where she ain't gonna go. Well, Knutson, I think what I'm gonna do is just grind a little valley in there. I don't like that idea, but I think that's gonna be the easiest way to go about what I'm doing here. I mean, I could try to inset these brackets, but I don't think that's gonna be easy. All right, well, I'm having fastener trouble to get it in there. I think what I'm gonna have to do is get some of those push-on clips that have threads in them, because I don't think I can physically... I can probably do it if I take a lot of time and whatever, like get a wrench through there and whatever, but this is actually kind of small space. But I think that looks pretty snazzy, friends. Once I put that decal in the center that has the shield, I don't think 90% of the people are gonna know that's a phony, you know, till they get close and see how crappy a job I did. But it's better than just having a gaping hole. So what will happen is, I guess I'll probably sand it down and get the shiny off of it, and then prime it, and then paint it whatever I paint this with, because I'm afraid if I don't do it that way, it'll never match, is what I'm thinking. And then we are not done, because we have a lot of reinforcement to do. Specifically, well, here's a crack. That should probably be dealt with, something on the back. This needs to be dealt with. And then there's a chunk missing here. And I'm hoping, I've never done fiberglass repair kit before from the auto store, but I'm hoping if I get that, it comes with that glass mat, I'm hoping I can just kind of layer it until I get that hole shut, and then just put it on the back side of this to stiffen it up, and we'll have us something. So that's my plan working forward, and we'll see how that works out in practice. But I like what I see here. I mean, that's worlds better than I could have hoped for, I guess, because I had nothing. I do have to also get those bottom 2 bolt holes to play ball. I just wonder how far away they are. Oh, that one I forgot has a broken off bolt in it, so we got to get that, but it's right there. This one's all wonky, so we'll have to do that. But I think it's all doable, and I think that's a handy solution for people who are missing a grill. But it's going to take a while if you do it for yourself, but otherwise I think it's worth doing because it looks good. After watching what you just saw, do you feel like your IQ has dropped lower than your credit score? Well, there's no reason that both of us should be miserable, so go ahead and hit that thumbs up and leave a comment. That stuff costs you nothing, and it really helps me out. Your banker may not approve, but I know mine will. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.